that's what's interesting. I think while Chris was chatting, and I think just how media has evolved through the years is I think the link between creative and media as a marriage is just perfect at the moment. So when you talk standout, I think the first thing that a media agency needs to do is make sure that whatever your plan is, that you're coming up with something that stands out. So as an example, if we're only looking at numbers, we'll say, okay, well then every single ad has to go in morning and afternoon drive time. I saw we did some research a while ago that actually analysed moms, and it was particularly for a campaign that we were working on. And when we looked at the AMPS run, it was a no-brainer. So the mom listens to radio in the morning. However, we actually spent time with her and we drove with her, and we realised that at 7 or 7:30 in the morning, her kids are in the back and the radio's on, but she's not listening. So we said to the client, we're actually going to put your ad in that mid-morning slot. And then what it also did is it gave the creative radio piece a wonderful space, so it didn't have to fight with loads and loads of other ads. So I think there's also a role in terms of standout that the media agency challenges just putting generics, Panarottis. I think my client is here, but there was actually a stunning campaign. I think you all know Cheese of the Day. So it was a great relationship, obviously, with the radio station, because I have to give 5FM credit there. But it was a space that the creative agency could play with and just have really loads of fun. And we immediately gave the brand a platform that it could stand out in.
Something you were John wisely. Have you ever seen a radio show?
Because it's just such a familiar thing. We did a campaign recently, the same campaign I presented earlier, Nedbank Savvy, and one of the things that we were selling was the pocket posts for small businesses, and Kaya FM happened to take us on a client kind of afternoon, and one of the DJs was there, and he actually approached me and he said, Sydney, I've heard some of your advertising on my program. Actually, I want to change it. This is how I want to do it. And he had such fantastic ideas. And you wish radio stations could proactively do that. That even when you do the wrong stuff, just place an ad in an environment, whether it's relevant or not, that they can almost come back to you and say, listen, we've got better ideas for you in terms of how you can make that effective. So it had to take a client afternoon, which I appreciated. It was good lunch and a glass of wine, But I would have wished that that the station could be more proactive, because the DJ seemed quite engaged and involved with what we were trying to do. So I was quite impressed.
Sydney, while you've got the microphone there, there's a lot of work being done at the moment in terms of research. There's a new radio tender out there, etc., which you may or may not be aware of. Radio research has probably for the last 20 years been focused on quantifying an audience rather than qualifying the audience in terms of the mindset, in terms of the receptiveness of the audience. If you had an opportunity to influence the research going forward, what would you as a client be looking for in new research?
I think you're right. I think it's a tough question, but I think you're right. The qualitative stuff, because we can all read numbers and it's quite easy to come back with numbers. What is important is, at what point do we get to talk to someone at a point in time when he's most susceptible to the message? Because then you drive the noting, the memorability, the things that we're talking about here. And your good example of a mother driving in the morning with kids in the car, you think the numbers will tell you she is in the car, but the qualitative stuff will tell us at what point should we be talking to them where we give ourselves the best chance to succeed.
So what I'm hearing is that instead of the research being station-focused, it should be consumer-focused, maybe introducing a bit of day in the life, understanding how the consumer interacts with radio through his or her day and how receptive.
Absolutely.